Have you ever felt reality wink at you? A subtle moment that stops you in your tracks, almost whispering, "Pay attention." You think of someone long gone, and before you can question why, their name glows on your screen. You catch the same sequence of numbers again and again, on clocks, receipts, street signs, as though time itself is leaving you breadcrumbs. Or an opportunity lands in your lap at the exact instant your heart needed it, even though logic insists it shouldn't be possible. We call these moments synchronicities, and while the ordinary mind dismisses them as chance, your deeper self knows better. They are not accidents. They are patterns, whispers, signals of something vast moving through you. Carl Jung once described them as meaningful coincidences. Even he admitted they don't fit within the neat rules of cause and effect. Because how could two events with no direct link converge with such impossible precision, delivering the feeling of perfect timing? Traditional science shrugs, but the quantum field speaks a different language. Here, reality is not a chain of dominoes falling in order. It is a sea of infinite possibilities, all existing at once, waiting for your attention to give them form. When your inner state vibrates with one of those possibilities, it begins to leak through the veil. It brushes against your awareness as synchronicity, almost like the universe showing you a trailer of a movie that hasn't yet been released. These are not illusions. They are shadows of the real, already alive just beyond your reach. Think of it. Before an object steps fully into light, its shadow appears first. Even without seeing the object, the shadow tells you something is there, approaching, undeniable. Synchronicities are exactly that. They are the shadows of your unfolding reality, signaling that the timeline you've been resonating with is already forming, already aligning, already waiting for you to walk into it. But here lies the paradox. Most people misread the signs. Some brush them off as meaningless and turn away. Others clutch at them desperately, forcing every little coincidence into superstition. Both approaches block the very manifestation trying to arrive. So why do synchronicities happen at all? To see clearly, we need to zoom out. Science and spirituality both hold pieces of the answer. Neuroscience tells us your brain is a prediction machine. It sorts billions of signals each moment, narrowing reality down to whatever matches your focus, your beliefs, your expectations. This means when you begin tuning to a frequency, abundance, love, freedom, your mind starts highlighting events that mirror it. Yet here's the deeper truth. Your brain is not just observing, it is entangled with the quantum field itself, drawing experiences that match the vibration you embody. This is why those who live in fear continually stumble upon reasons to confirm it, and those who embody gratitude seem to walk through a world that overflows with blessings. It isn't random, it isn't luck, it is resonance. The clearer your inner state, the more precise these synchronicities become. Repeating numbers, phrases you hear from multiple mouths, opportunities that fall into place at impossible timing. None of them are just surface events. They are signals from your shadow reality, whispering, "It's already here." Stop doubting, step in. But here is what changes everything. Synchronicities are not the destination, they are the invitation. They are not the prize. They are the trail of breadcrumbs leading you into a reality that already exists, waiting to be embodied. The shadow points, but you must walk. When you learn to notice these signs without clinging, trust them without overanalyzing, and move in alignment with the vibration they reveal, you unlock the threshold of a quantum shift. To truly understand synchronicity, we must go beyond Jung's psychology. We must step into the strange and beautiful laws of the quantum world. The old Newtonian picture tells us reality is mechanical, linear, predictable. One cause creates one effect, like falling dominoes. In that world, coincidences are meaningless, and thoughts have no power over matter. But quantum mechanics shattered that certainty. From the double-slit experiment to quantum entanglement, science revealed that reality is not built like a rigid machine. It is woven like a responsive field, a field that listens to observation, intention, resonance. When a single particle is fired through two slits, it behaves like a wave, spread across infinite possibilities. But the moment it is observed, it collapses into one specific point. This is the observer effect, and it tells us something extraordinary. Your awareness does not just witness reality, it shapes it. Now apply this to synchronicity. Events align not because of chance, but because your consciousness is already vibrating in harmony with a probability wave. The instant you give attention to that wave, it crystallizes into your lived experience. But the story goes deeper still. Synchronicity is also linked to quantum entanglement. Two particles, once connected, remain bound across any distance. What touches one instantly touches the other. This means your inner state in the outer world can be mysteriously entangled, bypassing space and time itself. That's why you think of someone, and moments later they appear in your life. That's why you dream of an opportunity, and the very next day, the door opens. It isn't chance, it is entanglement, threads of connection weaving across dimensions. Carl Jung sensed this long before physics had language for it. He wrote that synchronicity links events not through physical cause, but through meaning. Meaning itself is the hidden bridge between mind and matter. Neuroscience deepens this picture. Your subconscious filters out nearly all of reality. But when you enter heightened states through meditation, deep emotion, or clear intention, your brain loosens its grip, the veil thins, and the subtle connections that were always there begin to shine through. What was invisible becomes undeniable. Here's the key. Synchronicities show up most vividly when your inner vibration is shifting. They are indicators of coherence. Imagine your thoughts, your emotions, your body as instruments in an orchestra. When they are out of tune, the music is chaotic, dissonant, and life feels confusing. But when they tune together, harmony resonates far and wide. The quantum field answers that harmony by reflecting it back through events we call synchronicities. Each one is the universe whispering, yes, you are aligned, keep moving. The danger lies in misinterpretation. Many people chase synchronicities as though they are the destination. They see repeating numbers and think, this is the miracle. But numbers are not the miracle. They are the compass. A compass points. It is not the journey's end. Synchronicity is not manifestation. It is the shadow, the signal that something is forming in your field. If you cling to the shadow, you never grasp the object casting it. Another trap is treating synchronicities like tests, fearing that missing one means failure. But reality is kinder than that. These signs are not judgments. They are feedback. They are mirrors, not scoreboards. So if synchronicities fade, it doesn't mean you are cursed. It simply means your frequency slipped out of tune. And that is an invitation to return, to retune, to come back into coherence. Here is where the true shift begins. Instead of brushing synchronicities aside, you engage with them consciously. You pause, you breathe. You recognize that your shadow reality is brushing against the present one. And in that sacred pause, you ask, what in me is being reflected? What reality is asking to be embodied? When you do this, synchronicity stops being a random spark. It becomes a compass for your becoming. Have you ever noticed how reality sometimes feels alive? As if the universe itself is arranging small threads of wonder, whispering to you through moments too precise to be random. This is the hidden language of synchronicity, not spoken to your logic, but to your energy, your intuition, your higher self. The deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. This is not fantasy. It is the mechanics of entanglement, the observer effect, coherence, consciousness itself brushing against the quantum field. And the more you accept it, the more fluent you become in this silent dialogue. Think of synchronicity as a shadow cast by your future, touching your present. The question is, how do you step beyond the shadow and let it take shape in the now? The shift is subtle yet powerful. It transforms synchronicity from a fleeting spark into a tool of creation. Most people treat it like a passing curiosity. They see repeating numbers, cross paths with the right person at the right time, or stumble upon an answer just when they need it. And then they smile, feel wonder for a moment, and move on. But what if these moments were not accidents at all? What if they were invitations into a deeper layer of reality? Synchronicity itself is not the manifestation. It is the shimmer of probability, the wave of potential brushing against your awareness. Like the quantum wave function, holding infinite states until observed, synchronicity shows you glimpses of a version of yourself where your desire already exists. The repeating numbers, the perfect song, the chance encounter, they are signatures of a probability wave trying to solidify. Ignore them and they dissolve back into the field. Meet them with awareness, intention, and alignment, and you grant them permission to crystallize into your lived reality. This is what Jung intuited when he spoke of synchronicity as events bound not by cause, but by meaning. Meaning is the bridge. Infuse a synchronicity with meaning, and you collapse possibility into experience. A coincidence becomes a catalyst. But this requires more than noticing. It requires coherence between thought, feeling, and body. Neuroscience reveals that the brain reshapes itself through focus and emotion. Each time you meet synchronicity with gratitude, awe, or trust, you are wiring your nervous system to expect the extraordinary. You are training your subconscious to recognize and stabilize the timeline where that reality exists. As Joe Dispenza reminds us, neurons that fire together wire together. By engaging synchronicity consciously, you are not merely observing the extraordinary, you are magnetizing it. Here is where many people lose their way. They believe synchronicity is giving instructions, pointing them toward a specific decision. But it isn't a command, it's a reflection. Synchronicity doesn't whisper turn left instead of right. It says look closely, you are in resonance. It is not a map but a mirror. The shift comes when you stop asking, what does this mean? And begin asking, what within me is producing this? That is the moment you step out of the shadow and into embodiment, becoming the version of yourself who already lives the outcome. Quantum mechanics offers a striking parallel. In delayed choice experiments, particles appear to retroactively decide their past path based on how they are observed in the present. The future shapes the past. In your life, this means the reality you claim today has the power to rewrite yesterday. A synchronicity is not a prophecy of what will come. It is a glimpse of what already exists, waiting for you to embody it now. The choice is not about action first, but alignment first. That is why synchronicity feels dreamlike, as though reality bends in your favor. In those moments, you stand at the threshold between timelines, one foot in the shadow, one in the light. The choice is yours. Do you step forward or retreat into the familiar? The universe will not drag you forward. It only reflects who you choose to be. Neville Goddard knew this before science gave it language. Imagination, he taught, is not fantasy, but the seed of reality. To imagine yourself already living what synchronicity reflects is to collapse the future into the present. You stop waiting for signs and start becoming the self the signs were pointing to all along. Here is a practice to turn shadow into substance. The next time synchronicity arrives, pause. Don't rush to decode it. Close your eyes, breathe. Feel into the state of the self who already inhabits that reality. If the sign is about love, embody being loved. If it is about abundance, embody being supported. Hold that feeling for at least 90 seconds. Neuroscience shows this is how long it takes for emotion to imprint into the nervous system. In that moment, you are not just noticing synchronicity, you are collapsing it into form. Remember, the shadow is always ahead of the light. Synchronicity does not follow your reality, it leads it. It is not the replay, it is the preview. When you consciously engage, you step into that preview and claim it. This is mine. This is now. But what happens when the signs go quiet? When the numbers stop appearing? When the chance encounters vanish? When the songs no longer echo your thoughts? Most never speak of this silence, yet it may be the clearest sign of all that your reality is preparing to shift. When the signs fall silent, when synchronicity seems to vanish, it can feel unsettling, almost as if the universe has turned away. But what if that silence is not rejection at all? What if it is the final threshold before the shift? In quantum physics, before a particle collapses into one definite state, it lingers in a haze of probability, suspended between many possibilities. That unstable zone is not an error, it is essential. The absence of synchronicity works the same way. The field is not ignoring you. It is recalibrating, drawing threads together, preparing to lock in the reality you've been resonating with. The quiet is not the ending of manifestation, it is the doorway. Neuroscience reveals another layer. Your brain runs on predictive coding, constantly anticipating patterns based on memory. When synchronicities flood your awareness, they retrain your system to expect the extraordinary. Yet right before a breakthrough, those old codes collapse. The nervous system enters uncertainty. It feels empty, even disorienting. But this discomfort is not failure. It is the rewiring in progress, the dissolving of old maps so new ones can take root. Carl Jung noticed this too. He observed that meaningful coincidences often arrived in clusters, followed by silence. Those gaps were not random. They were integration phases, like the inhale and exhale of manifestation. Synchronicity is the inhale, drawing in energy, alignment, and symbols. The silence is the pause between breaths, the sacred stillness where reality stabilizes before exhaling into form. If you panic in the pause, you interrupt the rhythm. If you trust it, you anchor the shift. Spiritually, this silence often feels like a dark night of the soul. Old identities loosen, familiar anchors dissolve. You may feel unseen or unsupported, yet the silence is proof of the opposite. It means you are closer than ever. The field does not withhold signs to punish you. It gives you silence to strengthen your resonance. This is the paradox. The vanishing of synchronicity may be the most powerful synchronicity of all. It is the field saying, you've been given enough previews. Now it is time to live the reality itself. What you choose in this silence determines everything. Respond with doubt, and the wave dissolves. Respond with trust, and the signal becomes unmistakable. I am already aligned. I do not need proof. That is the vibration that collapses possibility into reality. And this is the moment to pause, not to chase the next sign, but to let this truth sink deep. If you find yourself inside that quiet phase right now, wondering why the magic has gone dim, consider this. It may be the clearest sign that your quantum leap is already near. Silence is not absence. Silence is compression, energy drawing inward before its release, the bow straining before the arrow flies. So let me invite you into a simple act of declaration. Write these words in the comments below, not as ritual, but as a signal. I trust the silence before my shift. When you set those words in motion, you're not only engaging this moment, you're imprinting your subconscious, aligning your nervous system, and sending a signal into the field itself. You're declaring, I no longer fear the pause. I recognize it as passage. And the field always responds to truth spoken with conviction. Because here's the deeper secret. Synchronicity is never proof of your path. It is simply a reflection of the state you hold. And silence? That is the ultimate reflection. It reveals whether you can stand in resonance without any external proof. The moment you embody that, evidence multiplies, because it no longer needs to convince you. So let's step further. If synchronicity is the shadow and silence is the threshold, then what follows is the crossing. The moment you stop scanning for signs and begin to live as the signal itself. Most people spend their lives searching for messages. They check clocks for repeating numbers, decode chance remarks, or wonder if the lyrics of a song are speaking just to them. And while these synchronicities are real, luminous, and profound, they are not the destination. They are only the breadcrumbs scattered along the way. But breadcrumbs are not the feast. The true shift begins when you stop gathering crumbs and become the one who bakes the bread. This is what it means to embody the signal. You no longer wait for reality to confirm who you are. You radiate your state so clearly that reality has no choice but to fall into coherence with you. Physics mirrors this beautifully. In experiments on quantum coherence, entangled particles do not wait for an outside cue. Their state is already shared. They are the signal. In the same way, your consciousness can operate as a seeker, forever scanning for alignment, or as the source emanating coherence into the field. And when you live in that state, synchronicity doesn't vanish. It transforms. When you stop relying on fleeting sparks of reassurance, something remarkable happens. Life no longer feels like a scattered collection of signs, but a continuous rhythm of resonance with all that surrounds you. You step into a room, and the very atmosphere shifts. People reflect your frequency without knowing why. Opportunities arrive not as coincidences, but as inevitabilities. Neville Goddard often spoke of the true act of creation as living in the end. It is not about waiting for proof, but embodying the outcome before any evidence appears. When you dwell in the end, you are no longer searching for signs, because you yourself become the sign. Your coherence sends ripples through the field, collapsing timelines that align with your state of being. Research from Joe Dispenza confirms this truth. When participants enter heart-brain harmony, synchronicities multiply. Not because the universe suddenly chooses to respond, but because they themselves have become the resonant signal the field recognizes. Spiritually, to become the signal is to transcend the tension between waiting and receiving. You no longer see the world as something separate that must deliver to you. Instead, you understand yourself as the projector of the reality you live in. Just as light does not wait for a surface to shine upon, it radiates and the surface responds. Your frequency does the same. It radiates and the field rearranges accordingly. This is what sages across time meant by embodiment, faith, surrender, and knowing. Not blind belief, but the deepest certainty, being the vibration regardless of appearances. Here lies the paradox. The moment you stop asking for signs is the moment synchronicity becomes most alive. It no longer appears as scattered hints to reassure you. It flows as a natural extension of your state of being. You no longer wonder, is this a sign? Instead, every step, every breath, every glance feels like confirmation. This is what mystics described as walking in grace. Life stops being about extraordinary events sprinkled across a dull timeline. The timeline itself becomes extraordinary because you have tuned yourself to an extraordinary state. But how do you live this practically? Begin small. The next time you catch yourself searching for a sign, pause. Rather than asking the universe to prove itself, ask, am I aligned with the version of me who already lives this reality? If the answer is yes, breathe into it and let it radiate. If the answer is no, do not despair. Realign through breath, through thought, through emotion. When doubt arises, remind yourself, I do not need signs to know who I am. I am the sign. Imagine the shift if you stop treating synchronicity as a fragile miracle that may or may not appear, and instead recognized it as the natural overflow of your coherence. Imagine waking each morning not wondering what signs will come, but knowing you are broadcasting signals into the field, and reality has no choice but to reflect them. This is the transformation, from seeker to creator, from chasing to radiating, from waiting to embodying. And this is why the disappearance of synchronicity matters, that silence is not absence. It is an invitation to stop looking outward and begin radiating inward, to become the source. When you do, everything changes. Life ceases to be a puzzle of scattered clues and becomes a mirror of your deepest essence. So the real question is never, will the signs appear? The deeper question is, will you allow yourself to become the sign? Because the very instant you embody that choice, the field itself has no option but to mirror it back to you. By now you may have felt it stirring within you. That subtle, almost imperceptible shift where synchronicity stops feeling like a random wink from the universe and begins to reveal itself as the echo of your own vibration. This is the threshold. You are no longer a passive spectator decoding scattered hints. You are the source, the sender of the signal. And the sooner you claim this, the sooner you stop searching outward for meaning and begin radiating meaning from within. At that point, life stops resembling a scavenger hunt for hidden clues and becomes a living conversation with your higher self. Think of synchronicity as training wheels for the soul. It appears when trust is still fragile, when you need reassurance of your connection to the field. But once you embody the deeper truth that you are the frequency itself, the need for reassurance fades. You no longer look for patterns, you become the pattern. You no longer wait for evidence, you are the evidence. This is what it means to live as the creator, to accept that the outer world is nothing more than the reflection of the coherence you embody within. Deepak Chopra once said that coincidences are signals from the field of infinite possibility. But here is the deeper revelation. When you live in coherence, coincidences stop feeling like rare accidents. They flow as the natural rhythm of a reality already aligned with who you are. They cease to be exceptions. They become your daily song. And within that rhythm, struggle dissolves. You are no longer trying to decode life. You are simply being, and being is enough. Even science affirms this. In quantum biology, coherence is what allows living cells to harmonize, transmitting information instantly across vast systems. Your own nervous system works the same way. When your mind, body, and emotions are fragmented, thought pulling one way, feeling another, action driven by fear, your signals scatter into the field, producing random and inconsistent reflections. But when your state unifies, thought, feeling, and body in harmony, your frequency becomes so coherent that reality reorganizes itself around you. That is why alignment feels like magic, but it is not magic, it is physics. And so the invitation is both simple and radical. Stop chasing signs. Stop begging for proof. Stop waiting for validation. Instead, radiate your true identity so strongly that synchronicity is no longer required to reassure you. It becomes nothing more than the natural overflow of your presence. When you live this way, your life ceases to be a patchwork of isolated, accidental moments. It becomes a coherent masterpiece authored by your own consciousness. That is the highest form of synchronicity, not scattered signs, but a continuous stream of resonance. And if this truth has stirred something deep within you, if you feel ready not just to understand, but to embody this shift, I've created something to help you stabilize it. This is not for those who simply want to collect signs. This is for those who are ready to become the signal. Because the universe is not testing you, it is mirroring you. The more coherent, clear, and radiant your frequency, the more inevitable your quantum shift becomes. You are no longer here to decode shadows, you are here to project light. And from this state, reality does not trickle in as scattered synchronicities. It flows as a continuous, effortless manifestation of the essence you've chosen to embody. So if this message resonated with you, don't just hold it in silence. Anchor it by writing in the comments, "I am the signal." Let your words ripple into the field. And if you want to keep walking this path with me, make sure you're subscribed and have the bell on, because the next video may be the very nudge your soul has been waiting for. Until then, stay radiant, stay aligned, and remember, synchronicity was never outside of you. It was always you.